Every now and then, Ouchies Batreps does scale it down a bit, you know, keeping it real. With giant fighting robots. The proud people of the Ouchistani Republic have decided to assert themselves on lands that is rightfully theirs by birthright with the assistance from some Paxton Arms equipment and advisors. Countering this aggressive action is the United Mercantile Federation, establishing peace and order through elite pilots and high-tech gear. As the initial advances for the Eastern Sun Emirates, the Ouchistani Republic, went fantastically well, they have found themselves cut off. They are now well beyond their own friendly lines, well within the enemy lines, and they have been ordered to withdraw immediately. With the ESE completely cut off, the United Mercantile Federation is seeking to end any kind of strategic viability by killing their commanders and all the support and firepower gear, leaving the grunts helpless and capable of being mopped up by local support forces. As the ESE makes a desperate gambit out of the woods through the light rain towards their own friendly lines, the United Mercantile Federation begins gunning up, heading up towards the woods up in the front and behind the hedgerows in order to make a firing line against the advancing ESE grunts. And as they do so, the Paxton Arms group has decided that they can't allow their newfound weapons buyer to be completely overwhelmed, or at least they don't want evidence that they've been supplying the weapons to them to become common knowledge. And so they've issued fire support orders. They have artillery units firing off board onto the board for the ESE, but they've got some old firing intel. We don't know what they're shooting at. We might find out at the end of every turn. Let's just hope that they're shooting at the right guys, you know, the UMF guys, because we don't like those guys. The Naga takes an overwatch position on the left side of the board, angling down on the gears in the far end. I could have shot, but I didn't realize it. Heavy gears, not my bread and tea, so to speak, and I don't know the rules as well as I probably should. Everyone else hunkers up behind the ruins to the right as we begin running or setting ourselves up for a dash across the road. It's actually quite big, that road, and it is a death trap if you get caught out there. Those shots are traded pretty early on the left side of the board, with a Jaeger gear popping off his bazooka at that Tiger that just managed to leave itself out in the open. It's to no effect. The shot just kind of dings off his armor. Hopefully the rest of the munitions we got are a little bit better than that. Now on this first turn I probably hesitated just a little bit, but I don't want to overcommit myself. Each one of those platoons he has, which is separated into two separate groups, is actually really impressive. I outnumber him almost 2 to 1, but I don't want to engage him. He's got shooty gun things. They're scary. Snub cannons, ATMs. I don't need all that. So I start shuttling the Paxton Arms units over there to the other side of the hedge because I don't want them to get shot, while the Naga sits out there and starts looking for a target to shoot at, or at least one that would be useful to shoot at. He go ahead and opens up with his ATM and the AGM and finds a target downrange, and he manages to fumble the weapon. It is a horrible loss. I mean, the first shot out and the ATM ends up being defective. Now, I could probably have spent at this point a command point and probably re-rolled that roll to get the ammo back, but at the time, I had completely forgot about it. And I really kicked myself not that long later, because the Naga is now toothless. With the Naga toothless and now slinking back into the woods and the Paxton units starting to hide behind the other side of the hedge, he goes ahead and pushes out his variations of the Black Mamba, his Jaguars and Tigers, starts getting on the other side. They're not as good as a Black Mamba. I think the Black Mambas are just tops, but I didn't really bring much than I could. Only the Commander and the 2IC has one, and they're with the grunts over there on the right side of the board. But as I'm trying to find firing lanes that I can put down some suppressive fire, I start choking up. Again, I hesitate. I don't want to run out there in the open field. They've got guns. So everyone starts hunkering down into the destroyed building over there and throwing down bazooka shots where they can at what targets they can, mostly the Tiger and the building across the street. So with the rallying cry, "Not in the face, not in the face," the grunts and a couple of the fire support elements follow the leader into the damaged building. Hopefully we can trade enough shots with the grizzlies that are right in front of them, that they might be able to put one or two down before they rush across the street and into what is almost certain death. The 2IC, however, tries to Bonnie Tyler his way to victory because he's not going to take this sitting down in some piece of rubble, and goes ahead and top speeds his way over the wall over there and tries to open up another firing angle. And he does. He manages to give the grizzly downrange, so it's something to think about with his Mac. Doesn't really hurt him, tickles him really, but it's better than nothing. On the other side of the street, next to the rubble, the Spitting Cobra has actually managed to make a nice little firing lane. He's going to get to shoot at anything that comes across, which is like 5 different gears. That's quite a bit. It's kind of a misjudgment when I look at it now, though. And with the crack of the lightning, thunder hitting the ground, the artillery ranges in on the commander. He botches his defense roll, but it's only saved by botching the artillery roll. He almost died, giving the United Mercantile Federation points right out the gate. For what is almost certainly a litany of curse words for the rear echelon mother, for the ATM rounds not actually firing out of their tubes, is constant requests to get the firing solution changed on the artillery ranging in on top of the HQ's head. For what is almost certainly a pants-changing moment for the commander, he finishes his HQ call, looks up to notice that a grizzly has just exited the hedgerow and orders everyone to open up on it. Everything with a decent reaction fire mod, or at least would not do bad with the reaction fire, opens up. We got Max, Lax, Hacks, Bazookas opening up into it, and we don't even put it down. We do, singe it quite a bit, putting it down into the yellow, but we didn't quite kill it. Meanwhile, the demolition drones start swinging out into the open field as their masters are hiding behind the hedgerow just behind them. It's very grim. We need to kill those things before the demolition drones eventually fall into home to wherever he wants to see things die. But I don't have a really good bead on them. I can't really see those other units, so I start opening up with everyone else, stopping, slowing their movement, hitting it over and over again with everything else that didn't hit it quite right, landing their shots home this round and managing to kill the grizzly that decided to exit out of the hedgerow. With the threat immediately down, I go ahead and crash stop the other Spitting Cobra in the street and try to swing on to the other side. I don't think those Paxton Arms guys are going to be able to take on all that firepower on their own. They're about to get encircled, so I need to give them just a little bit support. And just as I start doing that, he reads what I'm doing and he starts moving up all those Jaguars and Tigers. But as he does so, he, like a UMF coward, starts just chucking grenades randomly over the side. There could have been women and children over here on this side just playing away, but no, he's just chucking grenades randomly. And as he does so, the other gears with their snub-nosed cannon and I think some sort of bazooka starts rushing up the other side and starts wailing against the Naga. It's just a defenseless little Naga. It doesn't even have an ATM one. It's just so crazy. And he starts landing home. He actually does a sturdy box worth of damage and kills one of the Paxton units with the grenades, damaging several others. In the middle of the board, the support Cobra tries to hold his own, but he's already shot. He doesn't have another reaction, and he sends a Tiger around the corner, and he hits him with an ATM. And it manages to kill him right out. He almost botched his defense roll, and he can't not roll a 6 to save his life. With their grenade-chucking antics aside, the UMF decides to fight me like a man, and they send one of the heavier Tigers across, or is it a Jaguar? They send one of the heavier mechs across the hedge, and I say, no way, Jose, and we start opening fire with just about everything I can. The Spitting Cobra, as a matter of fact, digs his feet in, opens up with the rocket launcher, full rate of fire, and manages to plaster him, and in the rate of fire exchange, damage several of the other units aside, just outside. With that brief glimpse of awesome, the Paxton Arms units decide that it's time to charge. They're going to go combat speed and they're going to rush out there, guns blazing, full rate of fire, and they start opening up their lax against the unit. They can damage it, they just need to connect, and they don't, every time. They cannot seem to make it connect at all. As a matter of fact, 3 of them jam and the other one loses his rocket pack to no ammo. And as the corrected fire orders start filtering down to the Paxton Arms supply chain, they begin reissuing their fire orders. They fire for effect, range in the artillery, and plaster the units out in the open. They hit their own men. Everyone gets damaged. Some of them die. It is a horrific fire order. Whoever issued that should be dragged out and shot repeatedly. Or maybe we're starting to see a pattern here, considering the fire support orders. orders. Maybe it's not so random. Maybe there's something very deliberate about what Paxton is issuing their orders against. Even the Spitting Cobra does not survive the exchange, managing to fall to a combination of bullets to the face and high explosive rounds landing all around him. It has a tendency to ruin any piece of equipment. Between copious amounts of artillery fire and concentrated machine gun fire, the Paxton Arms units all die. They are absolutely hosed down between the different gears that are out there, and we have almost nothing to show for it. The ESE hasn't even scratched any of them yet, and they have lost the entire formation. There will be no survivors from that unit. Even the Naga on the hill that was supposed to protect them has been cowering in the woods for whatever protection it can, and it is not slowed down the UMF at all. They have managed to tag it multiple times. It is at this point heavily damaged, limping through the woods, doing anything it can with what meager weapons it has left to do some damage, but it just can't seem to make any of them connect either. With the Northern forces absolutely mopping up all the survivors out there in the field, the remaining strike squad swing around and starts hammering home against the Naga, finishing it off with blow after blow that the crippled machine just couldn't evade anymore. With the situation looking incredibly grim for the Southern commander, it is now time to break out. There's only one thing we can do. We need to hammer home against the heavy elements just across the street and make a break for it as fast as possible. They open up with all their guns, using everything they can, full rate of fire, whatever they can to try to put down the units that are just across the street. But it doesn't deter him at all, as in fact he decides to go ahead and send his units across the street to meet me in combat, and as he does, he elicits quite a bit of a reaction fire from the building, but then he realizes that I have nothing left to shoot. Everything is shot, everyone has used their actions, and I have no more command points. My leader is exasperated, and he can't do anything anymore to stop what the Northern forces are doing. And with that, he sends his little bomb carrier demolition drones right into the building to clear out the rat's nest that I've made for myself inside the rubble. The first demolition drone goes right through the window, crashes in, damages several of the gears, and manages to put a damage token on the commander himself. He's crippled. But my brother is not stupid enough to let this go. He go ahead and sends the other hunter gear with his another demolition drone out there to send the next demolition drone into the rubble to take care of it, because it's better than sending actual gears in, and it manages to kill nearly everyone. No one survives it, or at least nobody survives it unscathed, and it's enough to make me call it right there. With the commander dead and everyone else damaged, there's just no way I could have kept fighting. It's a UMF win. And that's been an Ouchies Batrep, and thanks for watching.